Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a deeply important explainer. We're going to be unpacking exactly how gender is constructed by the world around us, the real-world consequences of those constructs, and, crucially, the actionable steps and legal frameworks designed to help us achieve true equity. So, if you're ready to focus in and map out how society shapes our daily realities, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get to it. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the concept of gender, move on to society and gender construction, take a look at the school and education system, discuss gender-based violence, and finally, we'll wrap up with safety laws and schemes.
All right, Section 1, Concept of Gender. So we hear these words used interchangeably all the time, right? But they actually mean very different things. Sex refers to a universal biological reality. It's determined by the body, hormones, and chromosomes. Like biologically, females give birth, and that's exactly the same whether you're in India, the US, or anywhere else. Gender, on the other hand, that is entirely a societal invention. It's a set of rules society basically makes up to dictate how men and women should behave. And because it's invented by society, well, it evolves. Think about it. Decades ago, women becoming fighter pilots was practically unheard of because of societal expectations. But today, women command leading roles in the military. As society progresses, gender roles change right along with it.
Now, as we expand our understanding here, it's really vital to recognize that biological and personal realities are frankly complex. They aren't always black and white. Transgender refers to someone whose personal identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. And then we have intersex, which refers to a biological reality where a child is born with physical traits or chromosomal variations, like having XXY chromosomes that just don't fit neatly into those typical boxes of male or female. Getting a handle on these definitions really helps us approach this whole topic with the clarity and empathy it deserves.
Okay, so how do these concepts actually organize our communities? Well, usually it comes down to power structures. Most of us are pretty familiar with patriarchy, right? That's a social system where men hold the primary power and authority. Just think of a traditional joint family where the eldest male calls all the shots. But flip that around and you get matriarchy, a system where women hold the primary authority. And this isn't just theoretical. A fascinating real-world example is the Khasi tribe in Meghalaya, India. Over there, property and wealth are traditionally inherited by the daughters. It's an amazing proof point that patriarchal structures are definitely not the only way human societies can operate. And this brilliantly illustrates how early all this conditioning starts. I mean, how exactly do we learn these gender rules? Academics usually point to two main theories here. First up is Albert Bandura's social learning theory, which basically says kids learn simply by observing. If a dad tells his son, hey, boys don't cry, the child observes that, internalizes it, and literally stops crying just to fit the mold. Then you've got Sandra Bem's gender schema theory. This one suggests kids build mental categories. A little girl might see a toy truck, mentally categorize it as a boy's toy, and then automatically reach for a doll instead. It's this totally unconscious sorting mechanism happening right in their brains.
Moving right along to Section 2, Society and Gender Construction. So, the family is basically ground zero for gender socialization. This conditioning starts almost the second we're born. Families often completely unconsciously reinforce these roles just by color-coding their babies. You know, pink for girls, blue for boys. And as kids grow up, it starts showing up in the division of labor. Girls are frequently nudged to help out in the kitchen, while boys are sent outside to run errands or do yard work. Whether we realize it or not, this creates a really early blueprint for what their adult lives are supposed to look like.
Now, here is an absolutely crucial point. Gender bias does not exist in a vacuum. It heavily intersects with other societal structures, like caste, class, and religion, and that creates compounded struggles. Take Dalit women, for instance. They often face dual discrimination, getting hit by both caste prejudice and gender bias. Or think about women from poor economic backgrounds who basically work double shifts, doing grueling manual labor outside all day, only to come home to hours of unpaid domestic work. And if you look across various faiths, traditional religious rules have historically favored men, especially when it comes to things like inheriting property. It's all connected.
And it's not just at home or in our immediate community. We are absolutely bombarded by popular culture. Just think about the TV commercials you see every single day. Detergent ads almost universally show women washing clothes, quietly hammering home the idea that laundry is strictly a woman's job. Or look at mainstream movies. Men are consistently portrayed as these strong, muscular saviors, while women are so often written as weaker characters who just need rescuing. Honestly, the media acts as this massive, silent enforcer of stereotypes in our daily lives.
Let's step into the classroom now. Section 3, School and Education System.
There's an incredibly interesting concept here, known as the hidden curriculum. We aren't talking about the subjects printed in textbooks. These are the unspoken, unconscious lessons that kids just absorb from the school environment. It's when a teacher asks the boys to move the heavy desks, but then asks the girls to decorate the bulletin board. Or it's the behavioral control, like strictly scolding girls for speaking loudly, while letting the exact same behavior slide with the boys, because, boys will be boys. These subtle little cues constantly teach children their so-called proper place.
And actually, this bias does show up in the physical textbooks too. Historically, textbooks have highlighted male scientists and leaders way more often than women, and they frequently depict doctors exclusively as men and nurses as women. But here's the good news. There are highly practical solutions, and educators have the power to change this on a dime. Something as simple as a teacher swapping out good morning boys and girls for a gender-neutral good morning students, or making sure a girl leads the science project while a boy handles the classroom cleanup, those tiny shifts can actively dismantle these biases.
This brings us to a heavier topic. Section 4, Gender-Based Violence. We need to talk about the severe, extreme manifestations of gender bias. This includes domestic violence, and it's important to note that this isn't just physical abuse. It can be mental or even economic, like intentionally stopping a woman from holding a job just to keep her completely dependent. In the professional sphere, workplace sexual harassment creates deeply unsafe environments, like bosses demanding personal favors in exchange for job security. And at its absolute most tragic extreme, we see female infanticide, terminating a pregnancy or killing an infant solely because the child is a girl. These aren't just abstract statistics. They are harsh, devastating realities that take root right in those societal constructs we were just talking about. On top of that, there are certain traditional practices that systematically strip individuals of their agency. Take child marriage. This often forces young girls, sometimes as young as 14, to permanently drop out of school, completely ending their education and any chance at financial independence before it even starts. Similarly, the dowry system, or a groom's family demands cash or expensive assets like a car, essentially treats women as financial burdens rather than equal partners in a marriage.
But there are ways we fight back. Section 5. Safety laws and schemes.
India has actually built up a really robust, chronological, legal shield to combat these exact issues. Way back in 1961, the Dowry Prohibition Act was established to make the giving and taking of dowry a strict crime. To combat female infanticide, the PCPNDT Act of 1994 firmly bans prenatal sex determination. When it comes to child safety, the POSO Act of 2012 provides very robust protections against sexual offenses. And more recently, the POSH Act of 2013 mandates clear mechanisms to prevent workplace sexual harassment for women. These are incredibly powerful legal tools. However, having laws on paper isn't quite enough, is it? Physical infrastructure on the ground is absolutely vital. For true equality in education, schools have to provide a safe environment. Coeducation is incredibly effective here because it naturally builds mutual respect between genders from an early age. But to actually keep girls in school, basic facilities are mandatory. We're talking separate, clean, and safe toilets, tight security measures like CCTV cameras and safe school buses, and accessible complaint boxes so students actually have a voice if something goes wrong. To systematically empower marginalized groups, the government also deploys some very targeted schemes. First up is the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign, which is a massive nationwide push promoting the safety and education of daughters. Then you have the KGPV scheme, which sets up specialized residential schools specifically designed for girls from impoverished and backward classes. And finally, the midday meal scheme. By providing free food at school, it serves as a massive incentive for poor families to send their kids to learn rather than sending them off to work. It's a real game changer. As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to refine how we think about justice, specifically the difference between equality and equity. Gender equality means giving everyone the exact same facilities regardless of where they start. But gender equity, that means giving tailored support and different resources based on someone's specific individual needs to reach a fair outcome. Think about it. If someone is starting a race 10 feet behind you, giving you both the exact same pair of running shoes is equality, sure, but it definitely doesn't make the race fair. True equity sometimes requires giving different levels of support to marginalized groups, just like those residential schools we mentioned, to ensure everyone can actually reach the exact same finish line. We've covered a lot today. We unpacked the biology, the societal constructs, the hidden lessons in our schools, the darkest realities of violence, and the legal frameworks meant to protect us. But all this theory only matters when it meets your daily life. So I want to leave you with a provocative question to reflect on. Look around your own environment, your workplace, your home, your social circles. How will you challenge the gender biases in your own hidden curriculum today? Thank you so much for exploring this vital topic with me. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next explainer.